Welcome back to that 90s pod, everybody. Today we're going deep on a true icon of the decade, the Macarena. The song and dance, pretty much everybody remembers it, but we're going beyond just the steps. What we really want to explore is how it became this like global phenomenon. And hey, if you're enjoying the show, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button and tell your friends about that 90s pod.
It's interesting, how the Macarena really does kind of capture the essence of the 90s. Like, it was a time of so many, like, cultural shifts, MTV shaping music trends, the internet, like, just starting to emerge, and this real palpable sense of fun and experimentation in the air. Like, all these elements kind of came together, and I think all of them played a part in creating this, the perfect environment for a dance craze, like, to just sweep the world.
Yeah, it's funny because the Macarena wasn't just a dance. It was more like a cultural experience, right? It really brought people together. Makes you wonder, like, what were the key ingredients that made it so wildly popular?
Well, the song itself, it actually started as Macarena. It was a Spanish dance track released by Los del Rio in 1993. It did fairly well in Spain,
Yeah.
but its true turning point, I think, was in 1996 with the Bayside Boys remix. That remix launched the Macarena into the global spotlight. Like, it was everywhere all of a sudden.
It's wild to think that the original song was a romantic ballad.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even recognize it. Who could have predicted it would transform into the dance anthem that we all know and love?
Right, but even in the original form, like, the rhythm was undeniably catchy. The Bayside Boys remix, they just amplified that infectious beat. It made it impossible to not want to move.
I remember like everybody from kids to grandparents were doing the Macarena. It was at weddings, sporting events, even political rallies. Speaking of which, I can still picture the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders performing it. What are some of your most vivid memories of the Macarena craze?
I think for me, it was seeing how it just transcended age, background, even language. Like, it truly felt like a unifying force, bringing people together through, like, the simple joy of dance.
Absolutely. And its legacy, I think it continues to influence us today. Like, think about all those dance challenges that go viral on TikTok these days. You could argue that the Macarena was a precursor to all of those trends.
That's a really great point. It is fascinating to consider how the Macarena's, like, simple steps and repetitive structure might have paved the way for all those, like, bite-sized choreographies. The ones we see in viral dances today.
And let's not forget its impact on the music industry. It really changed the game in terms of how hits were produced.
Well, you're totally right. The Macarena's success, I think, it really demonstrated a winning formula. Combine a catchy tune with easy-to-learn dance moves, and you've got yourself a potential global sensation. It's a formula that we still see at work today. Before we delve further into that, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the Macarena and want to hear more episodes just like this, don't forget to subscribe and share that 90s pod with your friends. Now back to the music industry.
So what's fascinating to me is how the Macarena seemed to prioritize danceability over lyrical complexity. It was all about that infectious groove and those easy-to-follow moves.
Exactly. It really highlighted the power of music, to connect with people on just this, like, visceral level, even without elaborate lyrics or, complex musical arrangements.
So in a way, the Macarena's success helped to shift the focus in pop music, making it more about creating a shared physical experience on the dance floor, rather than just like passive listening.
Precisely. And I think this shift had a real ripple effect. It influenced the kind of music that was produced and the artists who rose to prominence. It's a legacy that I think continues to shape the soundscape of popular music today.
Yeah, it's amazing how like a song and a dance can have a ripple effect, like shaping the trajectory of an entire industry. But, beyond its impact on music production, the Macarena also had like a profound cultural impact too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, it tapped into something universal,
Yeah.
that simple joy of movement and connection. And it resonated with people from all walks of life.
It really did. I remember seeing people of all ages and backgrounds doing the Macarena together. It didn't matter if you were a seasoned dancer or if you had two left feet. Everybody could just like participate and have fun.
Yeah, that's what made it so special. It transcended boundaries and, like, brought people together in a way that few cultural phenomenons can.
It's true. And it wasn't just about the dance moves either. There was this sense of playfulness and lightheartedness that came with it.
Exactly. Let people just let loose, be silly, and enjoy the moment. It was a reminder that sometimes the simplest things in life can bring the most joy.
I think that's a big part of why the Macarena has endured for so long. It evokes this, like a sense of nostalgia, for a more carefree time. Like time before social media and smartphones dominated our lives.
It's like a sonic time capsule, transporting us back to the 90s and reminding us of the power of shared experiences and simple pleasures.
Speaking of those shared experiences, do you think that the Macarena's success had anything to do with its Spanish origins? Like, did it contribute at all to the growing popularity of Latin music at the time?
That's an interesting question. It's certainly possible that the Macarena played a role in introducing Latin rhythms and dance styles
Hmm.
to like a wider audience. And its success may have paved the way for other Latin artists to gain international recognition.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what the cultural landscape would even look like today if the Macarena hadn't come along. Do you think its impact is still being felt in, like, contemporary music and dance trends?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the Macarena's influence can be seen in everything from the popularity of Latin-inspired pop music to the rise of those global dance crazes that are fueled by social media.
You know, one thing that's always fascinated me about the Macarena is how, like, those simple dance moves managed to captivate the entire world. It's like they tapped into some primal instinct for rhythmic movement or something.
Yeah, there's something inherently compelling about repetitive patterns and synchronized movements. Like it's a way for people to connect with each other on a physical and emotional level.
It's true. And the fact that the moves were so easy to learn made it accessible to, like, literally everyone. You didn't need any formal dance training to just participate.
I think that was a key ingredient in its success. Like it broke down barriers and allowed people from all walks of life to join in the fun.
It's kind of funny to think that something as simple as the Macarena could have such, like, a profound cultural impact. But I guess that's the power of music and dance, right? Like, it has the ability to transcend language and cultural differences
Yeah.
and connect us on a deeper level.
Absolutely. And the Macarena, I think it serves as like a perfect example of that power.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most impactful cultural moments, they come from the most unexpected places. Makes you wonder what the next Macarena will even be. Like, what song or dance will capture the world's imagination in the years to come.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it all. It's impossible to predict what the next cultural phenomenon is going to
Hmm.
be. But one thing's for sure, it'll probably come from a place of creativity and innovation and like a deep understanding of how to connect with people on an emotional level.
Well said. It's exciting to think about, like, what the future holds for music and dance. But before we get too caught up in speculation, let's bring it back to the 90s and the lasting legacy of the Macarena.
What's fascinating to me is how the Macarena has transcended its status as like just a dance craze. It's become like a cultural touchstone, a symbol of an era, and a reminder of like the power of shared experiences.
That's true. And even though its peak popularity has long since passed, it continues to resurface in unexpected ways.
Hmm.
You know, bringing back waves of nostalgia and sparking joy for people of all generations.
Yeah, it's like a cultural meme that keeps on giving, reminding us of a time when things felt simpler, more carefree, and maybe a little more connected.
Yeah, it really is incredible how, like, a song and dance can just become so deeply embedded in our collective memory. You know, it makes you think, what gives a cultural phenomenon like the Macarena that kind of staying power?
I think it's like a combination of factors. The catchy tune, obviously the simple dance moves, that sense of like joy and connection it evokes, all of those things contribute to its enduring appeal.
And don't forget the nostalgia. For people who were there in the 90s,
Uh-huh.
the Macarena is like this portal back to a
Yeah.
specific time and place,
Yeah.
evoking memories and emotions that are all tied to that era.
Exactly, like a reminder of a time when things just felt simpler and more carefree. And that feeling of nostalgia can be so powerful, especially in a world that often feels chaotic and complex, right?
Yeah, it's like the Macarena offers, like, a brief escape from the present, a chance to relive a moment of collective joy and unity. You know what's crazy is even for people who weren't around in the 90s, it still holds a certain charm.
Yeah, that's true. It's become like this cultural artifact, a symbol of a bygone era that continues to fascinate and entertain people. I mean, the fact that it's still played at parties and events today really speaks to its enduring appeal, across generations.
Yeah, it's like this cultural heirloom that gets passed
Yeah.
down, bringing people together and creating new memories. I think it's a real testament to the power of music and dance,
Mm,
like to transcend time and connect us on a deeper level.
well said. The Macarena may have been a product of the 90s, but its impact is still rippling through the cultural landscape.
It's like a reminder that even the simplest things, a catchy song, a few dance moves, can have a profound and lasting impact on the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Macarena, I want to leave you with a thought. What other seemingly simple cultural moments or artifacts from the 90s might have a similar impact, shaping how we think, connect, and experience the world today?
That's a great question to ponder. It reminds us that even as time marches on, the echoes of the past continue to shape our present and our future. Thanks for joining us on this journey back to the 90s, everybody. And be sure to subscribe to that 90s pod for more explorations of the decade that brought us the Macarena, and so much more. We'll catch you next time.